sometimes the person who is acting emotionally unstable is the very person who is being emotionally abused. When it comes to a narcissistic person, they rely on reactive abuse so that they can paint the person that they are abusing out as crazy and abusive and toxic, all while they get to escape any forms of consequences for their actions. And as the person is reacting negatively to the narcissist enjoys the fact that they can gain that negative attention and that they can push that other person. They also enjoy the fact that, see, it's not me that's the problem, it's them. They're the issue. Look at the state of them. A narcissist wants to convince you and those around you that your emotional reactions to their actions are the problem, to distract you and those around you from their actions. Reactive abuse refers to a pattern of behaviour where an individual reacts aggressively or irrationally due to experiencing prolonged emotional and psychological manipulation at the hands of another. It is crucial to recognise the signs of reactive abuse within yourself and within other people so that narcissistic people can no longer get away with their behaviour. And a few signs that you could be struggling with reactive abuse, and one of the first of these is you are blaming yourself for everything. You're questioning yourself. If I hadn't have done this, if I didn't do that, why have I behaved in that manner? It's me that's abusive. It's me that's wrong. It's me that's bad. Narcissistic people just simply do not take responsibility. Narcissistic people, you made me do it. You know what I'm like. It's not my fault. If you'd have just left me alone, at least I didn't do this. So a narcissistic person looks to blame everybody else. A genuine person who's reacting to somebody who's emotionally manipulating them blames themselves, feels bad about themselves, feels depressed and miserable and stressed. One of the first things is that gradual change in your behaviour, becoming more emotionally volatile, having those emotional outbursts, potentially acting in an aggressive way, either verbally or by throwing things. As the narcissistic person stands there, acts all innocent and says, well, what's wrong with you? I think you need to calm down. Oh, you're having a bad day. Usually when you've got somebody who's verbally attacking you, you take those verbally attacks personally and question yourself and try to communicate with them. When they're throwing things at you, you're scared, you're full of fear, you're wondering what you've done wrong. A narcissist isn't scared or full of fear. They're enjoying the reaction that they've provoked within you. So when you get to a point where you have lost that self-control, when you start shouting and reacting, throwing things, when you just can't contain your emotions anymore, when you just can't stop yourself and you're behaving in a manner that's dislike you and more like the person that you are around, and you don't like that behaviour within yourself. Sometimes we have to remove ourselves from environments that make us sick. And when you are around someone that brings out the worst in you and then blames you or gloats about it or claims there's something wrong with you, this isn't someone who is supportive of you. This is someone who is looking to sink you. Even having that heightened sensitivity to criticism, we can often hear that narcissistic people are sensitive to criticism and think, hey, I am too. Does that make me a narcissist? Not necessarily. Unless you've got the actual traits, such as that sense of entitlement, the arrogance, the lack of empathy, the exploitative behaviour, the grandiose nature, the arrogant and haughty behaviour, it just makes you human. Constructive feedback is something we all need in life, and sometimes it's hard to differentiate between criticism and constructive feedback, especially when you have been criticised and mocked and judged and humiliated by a narcissist over a prolonged period of time. It makes you hyper vigilant to that sort of behaviour, and then you might respond in anger Or aggression, as you're sort of recognising, no, people aren't going to treat me in this way anymore. And it was someone that was just trying to offer that positive feedback. So when you have that heightened sensitivity to criticism, it's a good sign that you've been around a narcissistic person, and you might react in anger or aggression to non-narcissistic people, which helps the narcissist see, look, that's what I have to put up with. Can't tell them anything, which is the narcissist projection, even though they've trained that person to react in a negative way. When you're left with feelings such as guilt, remorse, shame, and regret, stemming from that internal conflict that you are not being true to who you are as a person, between your true character and your actions, creating that cognitive dissonance where you are questioning and doubting everything about who you are as a person, because your beliefs and your realities are just so skewed from the narcissist gaslighting and manipulation. When it comes to a narcissist, when they're abusive, they don't take responsibility. They don't think they're to blame. It's always somebody else's fault. They might feel a moment of shame if someone could potentially call them out, which is why they quickly deflect the blame or play the victim to get away with their behaviour. Somebody who is a victim of reactive abuse, who is reactively acting in an abusive manner, can't get my words out, to another person through a prolonged period of emotional abuse, because they're struggling to control their emotions, takes responsibility, blames themselves. What you often notice is that narcissistic people don't struggle with anger management issues. They can handle their anger just fine when there are potential witnesses around. Somebody who's struggling with emotional abuse often can't handle it, because the narcissist is pushing every button to wind that person up, to get that person going. So you react out to defend yourself, and it's not like that. It didn't. And the gaslighting is so confusing that you don't get your point across effectively, because it's all mashed up in your mind. And the narcissist just plays on that and claims that you're the crazy one. Now, yes, when we do get a hold of our emotions and learn to no longer react to them, we can think, well, are we now being the narcissistic one? No, you've just learned to no longer react to their toxic behaviour, because it's a game with them that you're no longer willing to play. When you become highly cynical of other people because you found yourself behaving in a manner that all people are capable of behaving, that you don't like within yourself. So within reactive abuse, when it comes to a narcissist, they will keep information from you. And you can find yourself doing this to them, because if you tell them that there's an event coming up in however long, they make life miserable for you. So you find yourself being secretive around them to protect yourself. And then you feel like you're lying and you're being deceitful, even though it is to protect yourself from their negative reaction towards you. If you know that if you go and do something for another person, they're going to play the victim of, oh, well, if they're more important to you than I am, so you prefer to just leave that information out of the conversation, you start being untrustworthy. So then you become cynical of other people, because you can see how you yourself are beginning to deceive and lie due to the negative reactions you've received by being honest. With a narcissistic person, they will lie to you, they will cheat on you, they will deceive you, because they're looking to get their own needs met. And they will claim it's because they didn't want to hurt your feelings that they didn't tell you. When you've got yourself to a point where you're no longer informing a narcissistic person of something, it's because you know there's going to be a negative consequence. And it's not usually because you're doing something that's deceitful or hurtful. It can be simple things such as meeting up with your friends. So then you become very cynical of others, believing that all people are manipulative and liars and hell-bent on that self-interest. When you've got that low self-esteem and that self-doubt, years of being subjected to emotional manipulation leaves victims feeling helpless, questioning their worth, questioning their sanity. So when you're left with that low self-esteem, when you're left with little to no confidence, when you're worried that people are going to find out how you reacted to them because you know your behaviour was in the wrong, that's the difference. You don't feel entitled to do as you please. You know that behaviour was wrong. There's a good sign that you are suffering from becoming reactively abusive towards another person. Again, when somebody continues to bring out the worst in you, it's time to step away from that person, because people who genuinely love and care about you try to bring the best out in you as you try to bring the best out in them. A narcissist will bring the worst out in themselves and blame you, and bring the worst out in you and blame you. If anyone has any thoughts on this video, please do add those into the comments for people reading through. Thank you very much to all the returning subscribers and your continued support with the channel. It's greatly appreciated. If you are new to the channel, I'm Elizabeth Shaw. This channel is all about narcissistic behaviour to give you more understanding of the people you might be dealing with within your life, how to handle yourself around those people if you cannot go no contact, and different methods to find what works for you to help you understand and overcome narcissistic and emotional abuse. If you do find the information helpful on the channel, please do subscribe. If you are looking for further help and support in understanding and overcoming narcissistic and emotional abuse, I do have several online guides available, and those teachable links are in the video description. If you're looking for someone to speak to, I have partnered with BetterHelp, and their sponsored link is also in the video description. I do also have a couple of books out on Amazon, 15 Rules to Deal with Narcissistic People If You Cannot Go No Contact, and a Narcissists Handbook, which is the ultimate guide to understanding and overcoming narcissistic and emotional abuse. I shall link those into the description also if you'd like to go and check them out. Go out there and create the day that you deserve, because you do deserve to have an amazing day. Bye.